very rewarding knowing that you're going to be challenged every day.
You don't have to be a tech genius, don't have to be the IT person of your family or have coding or programming skills. You just have to have the passion for the field. You have to want to get into it and learn those new skills. Everything's a skill.
Any advice to anyone starting out would just be, don't be afraid to ask questions. You meet so many awesome people that are just way smarter than yourself, and they're really good environments to be around.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cyber Revolution podcast. Thanks for joining us yet again. I'm Adam Hewitt, CEO of Cyber Revolution. And today, very excited to have an alumni student of ours, Thomas, join us. Tom, how you going?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thomas has just landed his new role, which is why he's been kind enough to offer his time today. We're actually going to walk through his journey from his studies to landing his role in the tech space, I think from being a plumber all the way through to tech professional. So we're going to have a good chat around that. Before we do, if you are a first listener of the podcast, firstly, welcome. And secondly, give you a bit of an overview of who this podcast is for. Basically, it's for people that are interested in the cyberspace. Predominantly, if you are thinking about changing careers or getting into this field, into cybersecurity, we know it can be pretty daunting thinking about changing careers. And so the point of the podcast is to answer all of the questions that are probably floating around in your head, and also to break down a lot of the common misconceptions people have about the cybersecurity in general, how to get into it, can you change careers, can you learn the skills, and how do you land your first job? Okay, so if that sounds interesting, then this is the podcast for you. All right, Thomas, let's get into it, mate. I'm going to start where I do with all of our guests, our student guests. That's from the beginning, right? For you, what sparked the idea of making a career change?
I would say it's kind of career getting a little bit stale. It's not a very good feeling having to get up for work, in the morning, but not enjoying what you're doing anymore and not really learning or growing in that space.
Yep. And so you're a plumber, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I was a plumber for 7 years. I started my apprenticeship out of year 11.
Yep.
Loved high school. Then first year of college came past, and this isn't for me.
Okay.
So the opportunity came up. So my old man always said, it's, you can do whatever you want in life, but have something behind it to back yourself.
Yep.
So it did
A skill, a trade, or...
Yeah, that's correct. Something physical, something that you can work wherever you go.
Yep. Okay, so 7 years is a decent time. Did you start off enjoying it? Was it something that you actively wanted to get into, or you just fell into it and then slowly started realizing, oh, this is not for me?
Definitely just fell into it. I don't think anyone, young kid thinks, I'm going to be a plumber. And as I'm sure every apprentice, it sucked when I first started. But you make some good friends. You're learning a lot during the apprenticeship. And it was just the fact that all the people I worked with, the good ones anyway, they left, moved on elsewhere.
Yep.
And then I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. The people I was working with, the hours, the work itself just wasn't very rewarding.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier you found yourself waking up being like dreading going to work.
Hated it.
This probably answers my second question, but how did you know it was the right time? Was there a moment that, like a light bulb moment, like, oh, I've got to stop this?
I'd say there was multiple moments, but nothing in particular. Just, I suppose, months of just dealing or just feeling the same way, a bit stuck, a bit stale. Yeah, just needed to change.
Yeah. Well, mate, good on you for making that change. I mentioned it earlier in the intro that it can be pretty daunting doing that. Half of that time is doing an apprenticeship where you are doing tough work, not getting paid very well for it. A lot of people can just go, oh, look, I've done the hard yards now. I can just, not being a cruisy role, but I'm just going to stick to it, get paid decent money and be a little bit more comfortable. So well done on making the change. That's the biggest thing, right? Was that tough, taking the leap?
Yeah. I mean, as you said, you're leaving everything it's going back to square one, learning new skills, and actually when you do get a new role, it's back to square one again. Everything you thought you've learned, there's new things, there's new people, new challenges. Yeah, it is pretty daunting, but I suppose, you just got to have a good support network around you and then you'll be right.
Exactly. Well, it's exciting as well because like you do 80% of the, your life that you're awake, you are working, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, and I'm not sure this resonates for you, the scarier thought would be to do something for the rest of your life, like plumbing, that you absolutely
Yeah,
have.
absolutely.
Like, that's probably scarier
Yeah,
than deciding to change, right?
yeah.
All right, great. And so why cyber?
Well, I have a friend who's a cybersecurity consultant, and it's just from plumbing, hearing what he does, it was just like didn't exist. It's such a little fairy tale, everything that's possible. And I've always been interested in business, the processes and everything behind them. And he helps businesses and organizations reach their maturity levels and whatnot. And it sounded like something I'd love to do.
Amazing. Was he a career changer too, or did he go through from the ground up? Was he
He did do his 6 months of being a chippy, and he got out a bit earlier than I did.
he's a tradie too?
Yeah,
Okay. And now he's been in the cyberspace for what, 5, 6 plus
yeah,
years?
yeah. That's right.
Cool. He'd been a good spot. So he's now a cyber career consultant. I'm assuming in like governance, risk, and compliance.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yep. Great. You're in a tech role now, which we're going to talk about soon. Is that a space that you always wanted to get into, more the technical side of things as opposed to the consulting, or you're open to either or?
Open to either or. Always leaning towards more consulting because it's a bit more of a strength coming from plumbing. I've got no technical background at all.
Yep.
I've never used Outlook or Teams. Didn't even know what they were. But being in the technical space for nearly a year now, man, you're just constantly learning, and which I love. It's
Yep.
unreal. Every day, new challenge, and there's never that feeling of being stuck.
Yep. How amazing is that? Like you just said, you come from a plumbing background, didn't even know like Microsoft Teams or Office or whatever it might be, any of those basic fundamentals of IT, and now you've been in a networking and cyber tech role for over a year. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, again, is if I were to go back a year ago and could speak to myself, like it'd just be
Yeah,
two completely different people, wouldn't it? They wouldn't be able
yeah,
to understand each other.
yeah. It just goes to show people listening in, like, yeah, you don't have to be a tech genius, don't have to be the IT person of your family or have, you know, coding or programming skills. You just have to have the passion for the field. You have to want to get into it and learn those new skills. Everything's a skill, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Tell us about that moment that you landed your first role. What was that experience? That'd be pretty surreal. Because I know you had a couple of rounds of interviews with our placement partners, and if they are listening, and I know some of them do, the ones that passed, you missed out on a good one here. You've obviously now landed your role. Tell us about that moment.
A bit surreal, you've been studying for a year, kind of, working more than 8 hours a day and then coming back home. I guess, studying, doing tests is kind of the last thing you want to do. But, it's all well and truly worth it when you do get that call. It's very exciting.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Man, that's a good point, right? Like I think that's why a lot of our placement partners really value our talent is because they are all career changers. You guys are all working 40-hour weeks. A lot of our students have families as well, mortgages, responsibilities. And then you've got to do 10 hours a week of study on top of that to get your certifications. So it actually kind of shows before you even get to the interview how badly you want it. If you're willing to do that, invest in yourself, work hard on top of however hard you're already working, then that shows a bit of grit, I think. And so that's a really good sign. Must be very, very satisfying to get the call to say that you landed a new role. Tell us a bit about it.
So working in the government space for a private company, we're kind of looking after data, network and storage at the moment. It is early days, so it's a lot of training, as you can imagine. Uh, no one's worked with government agencies before. It's just videos on videos for the first few weeks. But again, like everything that I've learned so far, it kind of just gets thrown out the door. For example, I'm learning how to use Unix now. And it's just
Yep.
like I've forgotten kind of technology. It's ridiculous. And yeah,
Yeah.
everything you think you know, it's just different.
Yeah. Move so quickly, right?
Yeah.
That's the exciting thing about it. And if you've got that mindset of wanting to constantly learn new things, I bang on about it in this podcast. I probably say it every second episode. You have to enjoy learning new skills because if you don't, you will you probably won't like IT and cyber, right? Because you have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's constantly evolving.
It is. Talk us through that. So, like, you landed a new role, probably pretty daunting now, coming from zero tech experience, zero tech skills from the plumbing space into now this networking security role, working within government. That involves a lot of training, as you mentioned. Can you walk us through the first couple of months within the organization, what the training looked like, what the support looked like?
So the support's always there for you, especially peers. Any advice to anyone starting out would just be don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, you meet so many awesome people that are just way smarter than yourself, and they're really good environments to be around. Yeah, it's not so daunting. It's
Yeah.
it's that support network. You got some good peers around you, some good training, and
Yeah.
it's just learning. If you love learning, it's just for you.
The no such thing as a dumb question kind of environment,
Yeah.
I think, is the one that works best in cybersecurity. If you can feel comfortable to put your hand up and ask any question at any time to anybody, that's usually the organizations that do the best and actually thrive and grow the quickest if they've got that environment. So that's good. Great stuff, mate. And so I know we've only really got sort of 20 or so minutes for this podcast, but if you can walk us through like a typical day in the life of what you do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you get into work and it's a very user facing role, which is awesome. I don't really want to be stuck behind a computer all day, not talking to anyone. And it's just helping people with, say, requests, going through security logs. Just so much involved in that, really.
Yep. And is it working from home? Is it remote? Is it in the office? Because it is honestly these days, you know, depending on the organization.
Yeah, it's fairly hybrid, but I much prefer being in the office. I need a bit of separation from home work.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, we're team at Cyber Ever usually in the office 4 days a week, and I think it's good to have 1 or 2 days a week working from home. You wouldn't have been able to experience that as a plumber, right? You obviously can't work
No, yeah,
from home as a plumber. Are you enjoying some of that flexibility of being able to do 1 or 2 days a week from home?
yeah, 100%. I mean, it's those days you need. Plumbing, you wake up very early in the morning. You don't want to get to work, but you kind of
Yeah,
have to. You do that in IT, cyber. You can wake up, have your moment, and then I'm going to just work from home. If
yeah.
I'm not feeling it that day, I'll just work from home. It's fine.
Especially on a day like today in Sydney when it is just bucketing down.
Yeah,
Right, and you're like, I don't really feel like I'm gonna step outside. I'm gonna stay inside and work from home. It's good to have that flexibility.
yeah,
Uh,
100%. Especially in Canberra winters. If you can
Canberra,
stop
oh,
working
mate,
in the whole of winter, it'd be good.
I grew up in Canberra, so I know how cold it gets there. Working outside, especially as a plumber, that would have been some torturous day.
It's
Wow.
terrible. You could get to 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and then you might be able to just start feeling your hands.
Jeez, jeez. Oh, nice. So much better. In the role that you're in at the moment, other than being able to work from home and being able to feel your hands, what's the best thing about your new role?
It's honestly just being around people that are so smart. It baffles me every day how these people got to where they are and how they know what they know. It's just ridiculous. Every day, you have a good few hours and you think, I might be getting angry at this. And then something gets thrown at you and you're just back to square one. But yeah, it's so exciting. It's very rewarding, knowing that you're going to be challenged every day.
Mm. Yeah, that's such a good point because some people can look at that as one of two ways. Like it is really humbling. I catch up with a lot of, people that have been in the industry 10, 15, 20, 30 years even. I was just at an event with New South Wales government, which is why, two or
Yeah.
three times each year I'm wearing a suit and chatting to one of our placement partners, John Baird from Revio, been in the industry 30 plus years. He's like at the top of his game in cybersecurity, still learning new things, still challenged, right? Seeing still new stuff each day. And so if you look at that as a positive rather than a negative, and you're like, hey, you have the mindset of I'm still learning, I'm still developing, it's probably a good sign that, cyber might be a good fit.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. On to your studies. Firstly, why did you choose us? Like, why did you choose CyberRev over all of the other training companies out there?
So three main reasons. One being, I guess your Google ads are doing what they're meant to be doing.
We were
Um,
following you.
I think I knew you were from Canberra originally, and I just love supporting local. So I was like, this is it. And the fact that as soon as you inquire, I don't even think it was an hour later, I got a phone call, and you kind of know it's the real deal.
Yep, good stuff. And what did you enjoy about your studies?
It was tough. I do remember the first day I logged on and started, and I had to sit back a bit. I was like, "What am I doing?" Like I've got learning about network topologies, and I was just, yeah, it stunned me a bit.
So you had like we're talking Swahili, like completely foreign to you kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Some of it, it's. I'm sure if someone was a Sparky, they would know a bit about it, but
Yeah.
learning about ports and like it's just didn't know about it at all before. It's just so rewarding knowing these things now. Like you can go through day to day, go on a computer, your phone, and not knowing the actual process of what's involved in it. And
Yeah.
now I do, and it's awesome just knowing it.
It is such a rewarding feeling, and that's where we get our fulfillment, right? As a training organization, is seeing people completely learn a foreign skill from not knowing anything at all about the basics of IT to now working in network security role, months later is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see, mate. And so, I guess what were some of the factors is why you felt, you're successful within your studies around the support? Did you like the labs? Was it the practice exams? Kind of, what was it?
The practice exams were awesome. I reckon I did probably over 1,000 of the practice.
Yeah.
Um, the labs, I wish I did more of. I don't know why I didn't at the time. Now I'm doing labs with my current job. It just it's so much easier. But the whole platform itself is just so helpful. It really is a bit of hand holding through the whole thing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff, mate. And you said the learning is just beginning, right? I often say our course is a stepping stone. We want you to get our CompTIA certifications, get your job ready to get your initial job. And then that's when the hands-on actual real world training and learning actually begins. And then still extra certifications. Have you done in your year now that you've been working in the field, have you done extra micro credentials as well?
I've done micro credentials and I've studied for heaps of them, like the CCNA and even
Yep.
the CISN and CISSP.
Yeah. Okay, cool. How's that been? Has it been balancing? Obviously, the organization helps fund that, and how do they support you doing that as well as working full time?
You get a lot of allocated training hours, but sometimes even days. But it is a lot easier learning these new certifications whilst doing the work. You can kind of put a bit of the theory to practice. It's just repetition.
Yeah.
Really need to be doing something.
And that's the cool thing. It's beneficial for both you learning the new skill, getting the certificate, but then, and then also the employer, right? The more skills and the more certifications you have, cybersecurity is a skills based game. You get paid and rewarded, by the skill set you've got. And so does the organization. If you have more skills, if you've got more certificates, they're going to do better as well. So it's kind of a win-win, which is good. Have you put much thought into what your next year looks like?
Being in the industry, you never know where you're going to end up. For example, I do want to be in cyber consulting, but 2 months later down the track, I might want to be an architect or something completely. It's ever changing, and so's your views on what you think you want to do.
Yep, definitely. It's exciting space, mate. Good on you. Yeah, proud of you for getting your first role and now spending a year in the next space. The opportunities sound pretty endless. For somebody that's listening in, and this is the last question before we wrap things up, i- if you had some advice for our listeners, whether it is a current cyber revolution student, somebody that's just listening to see whether cyber could be there for them or not, and they're maybe sitting on the fence a little bit, like I'm assuming you were, probably thinking that you were a little bit worried about changing careers into the cyberspace.
Yeah,
What would be, now looking back, your top three pieces of advice to help that person, take the leap of faith as well?
yeah. Number one, I mean, obviously people have got different circumstances, but just do it. If you're and ahhing on something, chances are you want to do it, but you're a bit scared to. Two, we've already been over it. Ask the dumb questions. It's so easy to get caught up in, not wanting to look silly or stupid in front of people. Just asking. Everyone's always happy to help out. Three, it's just practice. Watch your videos, do your labs, do the practice exams, and just build repetition into it.
Amazing, mate. I love it. It's super simple tips, but like so relevant. And it's ones that I hear each and every time I ask that question. Once you actually go through a process and you think you want to do it, you're probably at about 80 to 90% sure whether you want to. You're never going to be at 100%, right? There is a leap of faith that you have to take as well. Obviously, consistently learn new skills. Don't feel like any question is a dumb question. Even whilst you're studying, we try and replicate that within our curriculum as well with the student support and the mentors.
Yeah.
Don't feel like there's a dumb question. You are learning a new skill from scratch. You're not expected to understand this when you're jumping into our program. Well done, mate. Good stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, taking the time out of your busy day and walking us through your journey. I want to get you back on maybe in a year or so's time. We'll see where you've actually landed.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Thomas, and thanks for everyone listening in. If you want to know more about the Cyber Revolution program that Thomas went through, head to cyberrevolution.com.au. Keep leaving your questions and comments in the comment section of Spotify and in YouTube now as well. Hit the subscribe button there. The more questions we get answered around topics that you want covered, the easier it is for me to create these new episodes and ask the new questions. All right. So please keep them coming through. Really appreciate the support from everybody. Thanks for listening.